Thanks for coming by. I wanted to do this real quick for you. I feel like I owed this quick little explanation of who the Anunnaki are. I know I mentioned them in an episode a little bit back. I think the one that's called "I'm About to Blow Your Mind," which yeah, yeah, that's just me for you. But I'm just going to explain who they were really quickly because I feel like I left it sort of just dangling out there. And I hate when I do that. It's like unfinished business. So I'm going to say the weird part out loud first. They may have been the first aliens on Earth. It's like historians and ancient alien theorists claim they were from outer space, another planet, whatever. And even more shocking, they have all this Sumerian text that backs up these claims. And my curiosity came too from the reason why the Sumerians worshipped them so much. The Sumerians lived in Mesopotamia, which is present-day Iraq and Iran, from 4500 to 1750 BC. And despite being an ancient civilization, their reign was marked by a number of impressive kind of technological advancements or achievements. For example, the Sumerians, they invented the plow, which if you've got agriculture and you're growing food and you're feeding people and you're evolving, you're taking society pretty far, pretty fast. I mean, that's a science that can be tricky. And for such a basic civilization, it just seems like a really big leap. They also, believe it or not, they developed like a method of keeping time that's still used today. And I find that fascinating as well because now they're bringing mathematics into it. According to the Sumerians, they didn't do all these things alone. They said they owed their breakthroughs to a group of gods they called the Anunnaki. And the way they tell it, the Anunnaki mostly descended from An, and that's a supreme deity who could control both the fate of human kings and their fellow gods. So much of the Sumerians' way of life remains a mystery, but they did leave evidence of their beliefs in ancient texts, including the Epic of Gilgamesh, one of the oldest written stories in human history. And one thing is quite clear: the Anunnaki were highly revered. And to honor them, as I'll show you, the Sumerians would create statues of their likeness. I mean, what's that saying? The highest form of flattery is, like imitation or something. But they dressed them in their clothing. I'm not sure how nice the clothing was back then. Maybe their nicest burlap. I have no idea. Gave them food. So basically, and then they transported them to ceremonies like they carried them. To me, it just sounds kind of strange. I'm wondering if the Anunnaki are the ones who supplied the knowledge to the Sumerians about the agriculture and the math and other things, and the writing, the way the earliest form of writing, which is called the cuneiform. I wonder what their intent was. Are these their workers? Were they like the first slave owners? I don't know. I was really kind of perplexed. Anyway, but my question also was, why did we think that the Anunnaki are aliens? I mean, maybe they were just earlier than even the Sumerians, human beings? Not when you look at these pictures. There's clues that were left behind on thousands and thousands of clay tablets that are still being deciphered today. So I don't think we're going to find out a lot for a very long time. But in 1976, a scholar by the name of Zakaria Sitchin wrote a book called The 12th Planet, which revealed translations of 14 tablets related to Enki, a child of the Sumerian supreme deity An. And his book claimed that the Anunnaki came from a planet called Nibiru. I'm going to call it Nibiru. In a nutshell, there was a lot on this, but I kind of dwindled it down. More than 500,000 years ago, the Anunnaki's planet came within 3,600 miles of the atmosphere of Earth. So they decided they would come here and mine for gold, which they needed to repair their atmosphere. That just seems weird. But I mean, that's me saying that. Who cares? I'm a human. What do I know? Now, so they created, the legend goes, a primitive form of human to complete the arduous task of mining. Again, I go back to that slavery piece. Like, it sounds like they created us to work for them. Right? A little bit? I don't know. The Anunnaki gave these first humans enough capabilities to complete basic life tasks like mining for gold, farming, writing. So basically, these earlier versions were just, they worked for them. These earlier versions of humans, I guess, would be us, but we, I think, started to surprise them and evolve, because if you're giving the ability to grow food and feed people, I think you just by design start to learn and grow as a society or a civilization. I mean, I think that's just the way the natural order of things goes. I just wonder what their purpose was in Anunnaki. I just wonder what their legacy was going to be. I don't know exactly. I mean, I know a little bit more about them now, but I don't know. There's opposing views, obviously, regarding this theory. They think Sitchin, that author, either mistranslated or misunderstood the translations, and which is probably easy to do, considering the language that they were using back then was the first form of the human language known in history. So I'm sure a lot of misidentifications are happening as time goes on, but that's why they're still studying these tablets today, right? Now, I looked at one in particular that they mentioned. One of the translations talks about flying machines. Okay, this is where I said to myself, well, then obviously the Anunnaki must have been from another world, because if you've got anything called a flying machine, what else in existence could the Sumerians misunderstand as a flying machine? And where would they have gotten the idea for flying machine? It just raises more questions. It's crazy. But arguably, I know the Sumerians, they're from thousands of years ago, but they definitely seem to have laid the groundwork for humanity. And the question is, did they get the help from another world, or were the Anunnaki just an advanced version of us that had been here longer? I don't know. But as a side note, that ACIO episode I did, that Blow Your Mind, A.R. Borden, otherwise known as 15, if you remember, and he was in charge of the Labyrinth group. The Labyrinth group was actually in direct contact with the Anunnaki. And A.R. Borden was the first human of our design, their design, to use something called the intelligence accelerator. The Anunnaki chose him to use it because they thought his intellect could handle the amount of information that would download for him. And this way they could communicate better with us or the military, other intelligences and all this stuff. If they gave certain people at a certain level within the Labyrinth group this access to this kind of knowledge. So I found that kind of interesting, and I could see now where the correlation between Anunnaki and aliens can come from. I just do wonder, though, what their real purpose for us will be, you know? But anyway, that's it. I just wanted to give you some facts about Annunaki. I felt a little incomplete about him. So I hope you are staying happy and healthy, and take care. And stay weird. I forgot that. All right. Bye.